Hi there, Paul Haas, sports physiotherapist, Melbourne, Australia. Today I'm here to talk about the preparation of the Griffith version 2 active tape. Now, the reason we're doing this is that with the new version 2, we've had some changes in the actual material construct, so that for the first time in this category, the 4-way stretch tape category, we actually now have a tape with a memory. Okay, so when we pull the tape, the tape stores the energy and then it releases the energy. So potential energy, kinetic energy. So think like a bungee cord. The bungee cord has a memory. So that's the reason why when we jump and it bounces, we keep the same memory. Otherwise, if there's no memory, splat, you end up hitting the ground. So the version 2 is one in a generation tape in that we now have a memory in the fabric. So as I pull it, if we have a look close here, we can see that as I pull and pull, even in the early stage of the tension into the tape, we have a memory. So if I pull, say, 5 centimeters, the tape will store, say, 1 kilogram. And every time I pull that 5 centimeters, it will always store the 1 kilogram. Other brands, what happens is that as you pull and the 5 centimeter, the initial storage of 1 kilogram, you need to then stretch to stay 7 centimeters to get the storage, which means that the material doesn't have a memory. Okay, so what does that mean for us from an application and a preparation perspective? Now, first of all, just a reminder, we have 3 sizes. We have our 5 centimeter, our 2 inch, we have a 3 inch or a 7.5 centimeter, and we also have the big one, the 10 centimeter or 4 inch. So there's 3 size options in the V2 category. Okay, so application principles. Now, let's have a look here. So here we've got 7.5 centimeters. Now, the first thing is that you have the option with your taping, if you want to have more energy and more strength in the tape, to actually have a couple of layers, or you could have 3 layers. It's all based on experience and also in terms of what amount of storage of energy you want to put into the tape. So energy and or what you want recoiled. So you can see here, I applied 2 layers. It's easiest to do that and laminate that before it goes on the patient. And because the glue is acrylic and heat activated, we do need to just warm that up and make sure these layers are nice and bound to each other. Okay, now the second thing is with whatever size, single layer or 2 layer or 3 layer, we like to round the edges. Okay, so we round the edges because that means that on application, there's no sharp edge that has the capacity to come off. Okay, so whatever you do, you round the edges. So this is a double layer with the edges rounded, and here's a single layer we'll prepare. Again, rounding the edges. Now, when you are preparing, you also have the option to apply adhesive onto the actual, a pre-spray onto the skin to make the tape stick a bit better. So they're the preparation principles. Just remember, 2 layer, laminate before it goes on the patient, and single layer is very straightforward. The next thing we'll do, we'll actually go through the application method. Okay, so now we're on to the application principles of the tape. The version 2, different to version 1, and also to others on the market, where when you pull the tape loses form, which means that the more and more it's on the body, it means it relaxes. So that's important for us because due to this having a memory, there's a bit more tension on the skin consistently, which is important in terms of how we apply it so that the skin's protected and the tape gives us bang for buck in terms of getting the best outcome for our patient. Okay, so here's the 2 layer. I like 2 layers or 3 layers on the lower limb because of the fact that the energy storage is, the requirement is greater because it's the end of the kinetic chain of the body. Now, if you watch carefully, if we come in close and have a look at the tape, we need to prepare some very good size anchors. So an anchor obviously is the end of the tape. Now, I try not to touch the tape too much, so I've just got a little bit of tension on the glue, a little bit of touch, and that shouldn't affect the tape. Now, when I'm preparing, I can also use a form of spray adhesive. Now, if I have an athlete that's in a continent that's very sweaty, or I just know they're a big sweater, sometimes I might want to spray the area with tacky pre-adhesive spray, which means that there's a film on there that allows the stick to be a bit stronger and less chance of it coming off. Now, for the weekend warrior and for the person in the clinic, should you be a health professional, may not be required because the tape is very adhesive itself. More for those sweaters or in those countries that have very high humidity. Now, let's look at the knee application for the anterior chain. Very basic technique. The knee's a hinge joint, so we're only looking for one plane of motion that we're trying to change. Now, if we just come in close here, we need to prepare the anchor up the leg. So you can see here, I have around about a 3-inch, 4-inch anchor, okay? And I need to make sure that that is without stretch and it's very long, okay? So see, as long as my finger's there, okay? The reason we do that is as the body starts to pull on the tape as we move, the tension will go into this anchor. If we've got a very small anchor, that means we only have a small surface area where the tape's pulling on the skin, which means that there's a higher risk of that small area bleeding and getting some blistering. If we have a large anchor, we stop that from happening. Okay, so we've put down our anchor, and then when we apply the tape, all we do with the version 2 is we just take up the tension or the slack. We don't apply stretch on the tape because it has a memory, okay? So if you feel compelled to stretch more, it means you probably need another layer, not the requirement to stretch it, because it will pull hard on the anchor. Right, so we have our 3 to 4 inch anchor. We just take up the slack of the skin, of the tape, and then we lay it down and come in close here. You can see here, I'm applying that anchor, again, with no stretch at all, okay? So I've been able to create 2 anchors with no stretch. And as the body part moves, because this is full extension, as the body part moves, the energy goes into the middle area and where the tape is storing and releasing, but that obviously needs to pull at an end, so make sure your ends are long. And remember, no stretch in the tape. So if Amy here just bends up the leg for me, okay, so what happens is that the tape from here to here is getting energy storage in and out, so potential energy, kinetic energy, and because we have large anchors, we're protected and the skin at the ends are protected. Okay, Amy's gonna swing around the table now with her legs over the edge, and I'm going to come around and I wanna show just one more application, again to talk about the anchors and about the importance of no stretch and also making sure those anchors are generous. Okay, so we're looking here at wrist range of motion, okay, and we're looking at the wrist extensors. So again, as per the principles of active tape application, we make sure that the joint will be in the shortened position. Now, if you come in close here, please, you can see, again, this is a very good sized anchor, okay? It doesn't have to be of the greater length of the lower limb, but as much as you can purchase area you can get on this part of the body. So that's the anchor, and that's about 2 inches. It's a lesser width tape as well, so we don't need to go too long, but we still need a good at least 2 inch anchor. Right, now, like the principles of active taping, you'll make sure the joint is on full extension in the shortened position, okay? When we put the tape down, we're just gonna round this off a little bit earlier because it's a little bit long. Okay, so now, knowing that again that the tape has a memory, we have Amy in full extension. Yep, she cheated there a bit. You got to make sure you sometimes ask your patient to put their other hand on the fingers here, just to keep that in full extension so you know you've got that commitment there from the patient. And then again, just take up the slack. And watch here, come in close. Watch the application of the anchor. No tension. Must have a long anchor, not a little one. And in this position here, because the tape's got such good stick and stretch, Amy can just flex forward, yep, and then as she does that, perfect. We can just massage that in so there's no skin creases. And we have 2 good-sized anchors. The only other thing you need to think about with these joints where extension is in the shortened position is this extension closed position, you may need to apply a strip of tape over here. So just a quick example, you like this a little bit longer, but that's one we have here now. I'd prefer to go around here and we just apply the tape, really no stretch, just to sort of support that area that has the chance to lift. And then Amy, for her wrist extensors here, has a fantastic bungee, yep, through full range where the tape's storing energy and it's releasing energy, so the system doesn't have to work as hard. But the biggest important thing is the anchors are long, no stretch on the tape, and that'll give you the best outcome for your patient and the less chance of skin irritation at the anchors. Fantastic, thank you.